Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Mulatto Vanguard. So for today, I'm going to be discussing a comment that I received on one of my videos. Actually, the video was the year of return video to Ghana, and I received a comment from an interesting character. So as you can see here, the username is tall, dark, and handsome, right? But this gentleman left a, pretty long paragraph, basically expressing his kind of, disdain for my video, and I guess some of the talking points or comments that I made in the video. So let's dive into this comment this gentleman made. So firstly, he says, decent video. However, the statement that you made saying that in America, now that was the first clue that, we're dealing with the pro-whack. I mean, if you just look at the spelling of America, right, with the 3 Ks, that is an indicator of a victim mentality. Person who is strongly associating with being a victim. It's interesting because later on in the comment, he tries to kind of boast of how accomplished he is, but he still has this victim narrative. So moving along, however, the statement that you made saying that in America, you'll see that African Americans were miserable. Now, to reiterate, my comment that I made was that there's a major difference, okay? Traveling different cities in America, looking at the kind of, black population versus when I went to an all black nation like Ghana, and looking at the just even the facial expressions of people, generally, I mean, people were so happy, especially in Ghana. It's night and day. And even one of my classmates who was with me on the trip, who herself was monoracial African American, she could attest to that as well. She actually made a statement about that. Just, it's so noticeably different when you look at their face and how they interact, and the people are just so happy. It's just so different from what you see in America. So this gentleman didn't like the fact that I pointed that out, which, like I said, it's as a fact, it's actual. Other people can, say that that's true as well. So that's the comment that he didn't have that he had a problem with. And so he, going along, he says, I was kind of feeling the video until you made that statement. So that's what really triggered this guy, was my statement about basically how I've noticed, from my analysis, is that, Ghanaian people just generally by large are a lot happier than African American people. It is what it is, right? And it says, I happen to be a Nigerian living most of my life in America, KK. See, there again, the spelling is hilarious. This guy is such a proud victim. And it says, and found that statement to be a confirmation of why most African Americans mistrust those of you in the mulatto community. So that right there, traditionally, mulatto people have always kind of claimed themselves to be black, right? And so what we're essentially doing now is developing our own community. And so that's obviously what this guy has an issue with, that we're embracing who we are and celebrating that, and that we're not bound to be subordinates under this guy, right? So that's really what his problem is. So, and of course, he, moving along, he says, my holding a master's in computer engineering, see, he's boasting in several and owning several businesses, including real estate empire in America. So he owns a real estate empire, but the spelling that he spells out for America, it's so astonishing. Like, it's such a racist country. It's so bad, and you're a mulatto, you're half white, I'm a victim. And it says in several, African countries and restaurants and entertainment venues. Didn't exactly understand why a person of mixed race would make such a damaging generalized statement. Well, it's my observation, and like I already said, there was another, African American monoracial who made the same observation, and there's others who will too. I can also, eventually pull up the accounts of them as well. Especially when there is nothing about my life that is miserable. Well, I mean, you sound miserable, bro. Just the way you put your comments and you spell America with 3 Ks, you sound friggin' miserable, But then I had to accept that most mulattoes continue to be the buffering group between blacks and whites that whites and are responsible for information in the black community being taken to our racist counterparts. There you go. That is the major pro-whack narrative, that we are agents. So you see how he puts out taking the responsible for information in the black community being taken to our racist counterparts. That goes back to the destruction of black civilization by Chancellor Williams. This is what these pro-blacks, these black nationalists, black identity extremists, this is what they push. They push this conspiracy theory that mulatto people are agents to white supremacy. So this guy is a pro-whack. And the fact that we are, proud to declare ourselves as mulattoes, he has a problem with that, right? He thinks he's going to be the gatekeeper. He's going to gatekeep us and tell us to be subordinates. Those days are over, buddy. So, but I think it's astonishing how this guy, claims to be so proud and not miserable, but he just the way the spelling of America, he's such a proud victim. It's sad. But of course, pushing this whole buffer group concept, like I said, this is what a lot of the pro-whacks push, as far as us being, mulatto people being a buffer class, so to speak, or agent, when most of us have fought for your ass all the way back to slavery, right? As a matter of fact, a lot of you got out of slavery because of us, i.e. Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, the list goes on and on. Thurgood Marshall, a lot of your civil rights, federal protections, they come from mulatto people. So I don't even know why this guy even fixes his lip to, run his mouth about mulatto people. But, continuing on, this is typical pro-whack babble, all their little conspiracy theories. So it says, in closing, maybe the reason you're making such a negative statement comes from the side, of course, the white side, right, of you that is responsible for those black people being miserable. So he's a victim. It's the white side. Why the black people are miserable. Be careful, my friend. Ooh, as you can see, in America, KKK, the true misery is coming from the Karens and Brads of the world, which the Most High, so he's a religious fool, okay, is now lowering their populations all over the world, with Africa rising and her diaspora slowly uniting. Right. The diaspora slowly uniting. Right. Have you heard of ADOS and FBA in America? Right. With Africa, diaspora slowly rising. Where will that leave you as a mulatto? Where it leaves us is we're a community. We have a high growth trajectory, and I'm also going to do, a couple presentations based on the significant mass. We're growing largely. So we are establishing our community, and this is a very beautiful thing. And so don't worry about us. Worry about you, okay? Worry about you and your community and what you're doing. Don't worry about us. We got things going on over here, right? So... And then it says, choose your words more carefully because your white side seems to be more of a problem than a solution for the entire melanated population. Well, you're not united. You're all very tribalistic, fighting each other every day. So I don't know why you're in my mix, even in my comment section. But of course, I can use your little foolish comment to publish this video, which is great. This is funny stuff because I already know these pro-whacks are going to be up in their feelings, because they're losing their little mules, they're losing their subordinates, we're establishing our own. By the way, you were not called a white man because you lack melanin. You were called a white man because you speak English. So that was kind of his last little comment he said. That's referring to how I explained that in Ghana, I was referred to as a white man, which to me, it didn't really bother me because I'm half white, right? It was just the first time I've heard that uttered. And it was just interesting, because of how, Ghanaian people, I guess African people, you can say generally, see race, right, in the motherland. And it's completely different from how we typically see things in America, where in America, we're typically one dropped into blackness, right? So in America, if you have one drop of black blood, you're thrown into the black category. And I'm also going to do a presentation based on that, which is the Racial Integrity Act of 1924, where we've had a mulatto category, mulatto designation for years, centuries, essentially. But because of that critical, act that was enacted in Virginia, it kind of threw us back in blackness, right? But then, like I was saying, so in Africa, you have it to where if you're one dropped into whiteness, so if you got a drop of like, Arab blood or just a drop of non-African blood, you'll be classified as white. So, it's interesting. Even people who are like, Chris Brown, his complexion or something, or Will Smith, they'd call those dudes like that white. I've seen it up close. So it's pretty interesting. I just wanted to add that. I wanted to share this comment. I thought it was hilarious, comical, and foolish at the same time. But a lot of pro-wax are in their feelings now when they see that we are kind of gathering notes. Mulatto people are gathering data. We realize our position, and we're going to combat the little conspiracy theories you guys push, and how you guys, use your little conspiracy theories to push this vitriol and hatred and animosity towards biracial mulatto people. We're not going to tolerate that shit anymore. More and more of this information is getting out there, and more of us are going to be speaking up. I'm just one voice of many. There's going to be more. That's why I'm doing this. There's going to be more. You're going to hear more. I just wanted to add that for you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.